Was discovering Pinnacle first or Chemeketa first?
Pinnacle. Because I found Pinnacle, I found the class through Chemeketa, who invited me to do the class because of Pinnacle. The first class that I taught, I met Pamela. And when I met Pamela, she introduced me to Joe McCulloch, who was my boss at the DOJ, and I got that job that I retired from. And it goes on and on. In the beginning, for about 10 years, it was 2 classes, Monday night and Saturday morning. And then they dropped the Monday night class, which was a blessing because I did shows every year and it was a pain in the butt. But then the Saturday class, the very first one, the first one that I taught anywhere was at Chemeketa, the first one on a Monday night. And that's where I met Pamela. And there were 12 people. I have a funny story about that. See, everything has a story. But you can't do that. I'll be here till midnight.
That's
okay. So anyway, just because you'll appreciate this from Pamela, about Pamela. Because I walked in and Chemeketa had, I think it's building 3116. See, numbers never leave. Isn't that ridiculous? I remember that. Hi, everybody, blah, 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 da-da-da, first class. We did the whole thing. It's 3 hours, blah, blah. Everybody loved it. And anyway, at the very end, I said, did anyone leave anything unsaid? Something like that. And Pamela goes, yeah, Pamela, do you think this class starts at 7 o'clock? I walked in at 10 to 7. It started at 6:30. And if it hadn't been for Pamela, I would have come back at 7 o'clock again. Oh my God. That was Pamela. She saved my life. The first time she saved my life. That's a true story. Anyway.
So that was in 79?
No, 81.
81.
80 was Pinnacle. 80 was when I walked down, I saw 3 shows in 79. I saw The Man Who Came to Dinner was the first one I saw, I believe, and Ron Fox was playing the Monty Woolleyville. And I thought that I had never seen such a brilliant actor. I had no idea that he was a young man. It was like 20-something. I mean, think about it, 79. So yeah, he was a very young man. And I thought, oh my God. And of course, as it turned out, Ron Fox was a brilliant actor beyond anything I ever would imagine. And then I worked at a law office, so Terry Pressler is a lawyer, or was a lawyer, and so we were talking law stuff, office to office, when she mentioned Pinnacle, and I said, oh, or maybe I did. I said, oh gosh, I saw this wonderful theater, maybe something like, oh, you're the other person, oh my God, you do it, oh my God, and she about jumped through the phone, because she wanted to be Giddle in Two for the Seesaw. So she brought me immediately to the board. Ken Collins was president, or at least he's the one that greeted me. Friendly, oh my God, they couldn't give me enough. I said, I'd love to do it, da-da-da. So we come auditions. In those days, we had to stay from 1 to 5. You couldn't say, be here at 1 or too bad. And for years, why do we torture ourselves? Anyway, 4:45. And I hear Maggie and Bill Dayton stayed because Bill Dayton was the only guy and he was perfect for the role. So I hear a giggle at the door. I went, oh my God, there's Giddle. I swear to God, it was Sally Isaacs. She got up and she read with Bill. And Maggie said, and I believe it, that at the end of the reading, I was like that. Oh shit, now what? So call back tomorrow. Tomorrow comes and I'm reading everybody, oh my God, ad nauseum, when I knew that I was, and I hate myself for doing that, but I was brand new, what do I know? Oh my God. And Sally did the worst audition ever. She got terrified. She was always very terrified. But she was brilliant. Dick, of course, was very close to Sally. Anyway, so I cast her. And it was so hard. But all of them, Chris Fletcher, David Christabel, Katie Lindbeck, Diana Cunningham were the crew. The booth of the crew. And Chrissy told me, they go, who is this woman? So they all wanted to see what I was about. So that was the beginning of every year. I have directed a show at Pentacle since 1980, every single year except 3 years. That was probably, I would say, the most difficult thing I've ever done, because it was all gibberish, except that had to have subtext. Because what we found out about strokes, people have individual strokes. There's no such thing as going and watch stroke people, because everybody manifests differently. And when I found that out, I said, well, I'm going to find mine. I'm not going to go imitate somebody. And learn an entire script, never shut up. You're on for, I think it was an hour and 40 minutes. And people either loved it or hated it. The lady who used to do reviews in Dallas or somewhere, Linda Smith, said, well, if you like watching an autopsy, that was her review of that show. And oh my God, because it was really hard to take, because it was so sad and intense. And so, but honest to God, I think I know what it is to have a stroke, because people would come up and say, no, I know what my mother went through, my father. Honest to God, it was that real. And I know the last line, thank you, as I die. I never meant anything so much in my life. Every night, thank you, I lived through another one. Oh my God, it was really hard. So I didn't know how many shows I had done till around the time of 5 years ago. I say 5 years because I have no idea how many years, but I never kept track of my shows. It turns out that Rabbit Hole was my 48th show, because there were 40 years since 1980. However, there were fundraisers, and every once in a while doing co-directing or whatever. So I made a thing of every show. And then as far as involved, in the very beginning, directors always asked me to take notes and help, and I said, don't put my name in the program. I never wanted that. I never was about that. And so I had no idea how many, are you kidding? Well, and that was the ones I directed, because I was only in, I think at last count, maybe 16 or 17. I wasn't on stage a whole lot, because I prefer to direct. And the last show I did was 2012, Over the River and Through the Woods, which was very funny. Jennifer Jimzewski, I believe that was her first show, and she begged Dick and I to audition, and we did, and we had a ball. It was Lindsay Hauser and Fred Allen and us, and then that adorable child, Jeff Pressler. So it was the paternal and maternal grandparents of this boy, who they babied, and he had dinner for them every Sunday of his life. And it's hysterical.
Which I was looking at the book.
Over the River.
Over the River.
You loved it. We loved it. It was quite fun to do. And that was the last time I was on stage.
Aside from the physical theater, has it changed?
Let me put it this way. My favorite thing to say about Pentacle is that it evolved. We are still evolving. It's not a change per se. And because obviously when I first came, I was a stranger to everyone, and quickly learned that really and truly, if you're still a stranger, it's because you want to be, because people are very nice and helpful, and it was all very camaraderie driven. The quality of our performances improved through time. People got more experience, but then because we helped each other, the quality of the shows really grew and grew and grew till we're pretty spoiled. I mean, we have a wonderful cadre of and people stay forever. All my best friends I've known for 40 years through Pentacle Theater. I mean, obviously I have my family, of course. My granddaughter, who was her first show was when she was 10, 2007, and she played the balloon girl in Gypsy. And she had that red hair, and you couldn't even see her face. It was just the red hair. It was so funny. That was her first show. But yeah, and the kids, oh my God, they grow up. So the other thing I'll say about that is, and it's wonderful, because for that matter, my class, that I started in 1981, has evolved through all these years, and I never didn't have that in all these years. I always had the class. Couldn't miss it. So, and it has evolved. And there are hundreds and hundreds of people who've taken that class. You figure between 12 and 28, depending on the class, and then I had 2 for 10 years. So that's a lot of people.
A lot.
Good Lord. It even shocks me.
I think that that's probably one of the greatest compliments a person can get, is that they've had an impact.
Well, yeah, I feel it's the opposite. I feel that I was given the gift of, I really do. Pentacle Theater and my class, and, for that matter, my job too, but those 2 things that I got to do and still do in my life is miraculous. I really, honest to God, I died and went to heaven. Except I don't want to die of coronavirus. I can wait for that heaven. No, it really is a blessing. And the wonderful thing is, I'm sure doing these interviews, but I'm also sure that you go around and ask people, and Pentacle has changed people's lives. So many. Everyone, actually, if you're around more than one show, it's you have an opportunity not to be. It is really like an extended family, truly is, and some of us are closer to each other than. But really and truly, doing the show, which is one of the most favorite things about the theater that I love, it's an art of community. And my class becomes that community, which is what I teach, so that when you get into a show, you'll understand that. Yes. There is not one without the other. And that camaraderie is priceless. You do shows and you never forget the people, and you never forget the wonderful experience it is to go through that. It lasts, 3 months? And it's a long time between rehearsals and playing, but oh my God, it's friends for life. Pentacle is a jewel. That's not even a good word. Pentacle in a community is a gift that we have to help the community recognize what a gift it is. The children who get involved in theater, for example, are so much more rounded than kids who never have a chance to know about the world. I mean, there's nothing bad about being in theater. It adds so much texture to one's life that it doesn't matter if you make money at it or if you don't make money. It's not about professional or not, because I never was totally impressed with people who made money all the time, because some of them sucked the big one. But it's just the idea how much love is put in month after month. For what? 3 whole months? You rehearse for. I've rehearsed a straight show probably. How many weeks? 12. I think I do 11 or 12 weeks. Mm-hmm. And then you play. Now that we do a month, you do 4 weekends. So that's a long commitment. and people come out the other side crying that it's over. I mean, it just is such a wonderful life. I never worked in a community theater before Pentacle because I lived in New York, LA, and there were always these groups that were semi-professional and baloney, but there was not a community theater. And Pentacle was like, oh my God, I did not know what it was about. I really didn't. I mean,
And there's something different about Pinnacle.
well, people stay around for one thing. People don't move away very much.
Yeah.
It's a culture that's built through the years. And that culture is very, 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 it can be fragile. And everybody who comes has to do their part to maintain the values and of what we're about, which is the camaraderie, the absolute fun, the hopefully lack of competition, because I know in my class that's what I teach, because we shouldn't be competing with each other. And I can remember through the years, I remember saying, it's not your show or my show, it's our show. And that spirit really did evolve in Pentacle enormously. It really did. And that's what the spirit in which we worked. Everybody. I mean, everybody. There's not one person more than the other. It's everybody.
One of these questions that took me a while to work into the interviews, and that was talking about volunteerism.
Oh, my favorite subject. Okay. So as I said, Pentacle was my first community theater where I feel like I was educated in that regard at Pentacle. And I was astounded how easy it is to give away your time when that's the culture. And the other thing that I was brought up with in the beginning, especially, was the frugality. The trick is do a brilliant show and don't spend any money. But I wish that culture will continue. I just feel like the thrill of not having I remember the one competition we used to have is how low a budget, how much under budget you could come in as a director. Really, I mean, that was the glory. Obviously, you had to have a good show, and not at the expense of the show, but there's so many ways by going around begging people to lend you this, or lend you that, or give you that, or like that. That was part of the deal. And so and that's one to keep forever, because we never want to pay everyone, because we never do. Because being a volunteer, to me, was one of the benefits of being part of Pentacle Theater. Because I had never, ever, ever had that opportunity before.
So you do it because you love it.
Absolutely. There's no question. Painting, paint sets, everything. We all did it all. Clean the toilets, famous for doing it.